Tēnā whānau and welcome. My name's Howard and this is Gardening on the Kaipara. It's August, end of the winter months coming through. I have to say the weather has been pretty awful for the first few days and my back's still not been great. What that meant was that my list of maybe 15-20 jobs has now gone to about 30-35 jobs that all need doing yesterday. Got a break in the weather for the next 48 hours. So my challenge is to try and get as many of those done as possible. I thought I'd bring you along for the ride. So, as usual, can't stop here chatting with you all the time. Let's get busy. Okay, Fano, so this is the latest weapon in my war of trying to get seeds to grow. And I don't know if you can see this, but it's working. So this is a pair of heat mats, which I got off Trade Me. It was $50, which I didn't think was too bad because you get two mats joined together with a thermostat here, you can see here, which you can set. So it's set there for 26 degrees, and it's adjustable. And it just runs all the time. Doesn't take much power off the grid, for sure. And it seems to be working really well. The water in the pots evaporates off pretty quickly, so I'm having to water them pretty much every day, just a very gentle watering. And I have to move them onto another tray to do that, because you shouldn't have water on the mats. But apart from that, it's easy as anything. You see here, got a courgette that's already come through. These are all brassicas that are coming through. And what happens is when they come out like this, I take them straight up to the polytunnel, because otherwise they get a bit leggy. What I was finding, I was taking measurements of the temperature all around the house and in the polytunnel, and I wasn't getting anything consistent. So in the polytunnel, if it was a grey day, wasn't getting above 14, and then if it was a sunny day, then it would go from like 4 or 5 degrees from night time up to 40 degrees by 10 o'clock, which is no good for the seeds whatsoever. And in the house, it was consistently around 17, 18, and most seeds germinate between 20 and 30. And of course, at night time, it was dipping down further. So it seemed like this was a good way of getting some consistent heat going through, and maybe that might make a difference to the seeds. And I have to say, at this point in time, seems to be working. Very pleased with that. So as a follow-on to looking at that heat mat, these are some of those that have already come through. So we've got all of these coming through now. These are all the brassicas, and courgettes and cucumbers all doing nicely here. So the cucumber there, straw flowers as well, and at the top here some cosmos. So as you can see, my seed sowing has become much more successful, feeling much more optimistic about things now. I'm going to pop in some spring onions, because that's the ultimate test for me. If I can get them to grow, I know I've cracked it. Well, Fano, here we are. It's the end of August, getting into spring. How great is that? I have to say it's been a bit of a mixed month. My back's still been really not great, which has really put a dampener on getting some of the work done. But saying that, massive changes happened in the garden over this month. So I think it's time to do a plot tour. But before we do that, I've got to apologise about the sound. So the wind blew over the camera and busted the mic. So we're back on old-fashioned phone mic this time, which is never that great. Fortunately, not too windy at the moment, so I'm hoping we can get around before the wind kicks in and makes the sound even worse. However, if we flip over to voiceover, you'll know why. So the first thing we have to start off with is the tomatoes, and I have to say they've been an absolute success. We've had so many pickings of these. We pop up every couple of days and just take a handful for our needs, and it's just kept going and going and going. So absolute success. And as you can see, still plenty to come. And across to the next success. So you had a little bit of a review of the heat mats producing seeds, and I think you can see that my success rate on the seed front has increased significantly. And just to prove how good it is, these and these are lettuce, and even more staggering, this spring onions. My two nemesis that I've never been able to grow, happening. Overall, we've got courgettes and cucumbers. We've got a lot of beetroot. We've got all the brassicas. Got some straw flowers and calendula, some zinnias. And these are the aubergines. Over here, some dwarf sunflowers and cobra beans. See, the beans have been odd. Generally, when I see the seedlings appear on the heat mat, I bring them out here. Otherwise, they get leggy and not good. So I did that with the beans, but then they all just stopped and nothing started happening. So not quite sure what's going on with this, but hopefully we'll get a bit more happening with it soon. But overall, we're looking great. All set for this month of September coming, when we get the tomatoes in. Peppers. Now I've got peppers going here somewhere. Here we are. These are the peppers. So they're already going now. And my plan this year is to grow the peppers and the aubergines outside. Okay, let's take you outside to where even more big changes are happening. So, looking down the veggie patch, and here is the first big change along here. This is the new windbreak that's going in. So the posts are all in, the wires are all in. The only thing is I just need to lower the top wire a bit and then get some windbreak in, and that will make, hopefully, a massive difference up here. The veggie garden itself, I'll go up to the top and we'll work backwards. So at the top, with the strawberry beds, I had to put a bit of Ninja Kitten defences in here as they were getting dug up. And I actually think what I'm going to do is, particularly with this first bed, this is the most recent bed, I'm going to just quickly pop these strawberries up again and put weed matting down over it, and then pop the strawberries in. And then my plan will be to do that with the other beds as they get replaced. Carrot bed not set up yet. We've got a lot of radishes in there at the moment, but haven't got around to putting the carrots in at this point. I'm in a bit of two minds because the planning for the summer beds is taking a bit of a... Hello? Sorry, bit of a Ninja Kitten interruption. Hello? What's up? What's up, little one? Yes, so my original plan seems to be taking a bit of a hit at the moment, and I'll show you why. I'll just quickly walk up to the strawberry beds. I'm still taking the flowers off these at the moment, although I'll probably stop doing that probably in the next couple of weeks. Asparagus, just beginning to come up. Theoretically, I should be able to be picking these this year. The one on the left hand side here is still quite thin, spindly. I had one off it and then I thought actually I think I might leave that. This one is also coming up and this looks a much thicker one, so it might be that I take a couple off that if we get any more, but otherwise nothing else showing at the moment. Now this is the reason I'm still wondering what to do with the carrot bed. So the broad beans, this is going to be a tomato bed for the summer, with the theory that the tomatoes go out towards the end of October, which is what, 6 weeks away. And at the moment the broad beans are looking good in terms of size, but in terms of pods on them, hardly anything at all. They've still got the bees all hovering around, but I'm not seeing any pods coming, which means they've only got a few weeks to develop. Fantastic. Up to the top of the next beds. So this one has already been dressed with some compost, which you saw me doing earlier in the month, and that's just to try and give the soil a bit of decent nutrients and to break up a little bit. The topsoil that was gone on it before is a bit claggy, so this is hopefully giving it a bit of air, a bit of nutrients, that kind of thing. And the plan in here is that this is going to be the pumpkin bed, but I'm also going to interplant sweet corn, just to get a bit of double cropping really out of the same bed. At the moment we've just got some beetroot and some carrots down the sides, and the celery just in the last kind of week really has started to really take off. I was wondering whether I'd need to take it out because it was going to get in the way of the pumpkins when it went in there, but they do seem to be taking off a bit now. That's something. Moving over to the second onion bed, tickling along nicely, needs a bit of a weed, but otherwise it's doing okay. Zinnias down the side now, and the top bed here ready for the tomatoes. So again, the plan in here is to have one row of tomatoes and a row of courgettes, zinnias down the side. And moving up to the next lot of beds, and this is the Cavallonero, still giving so well. We love this Italian parsley that's self-seeded down the edge here, which is fantastic. The plan for this bed is that there is going to be a row of tomatoes with this Cavallonero. I might interplant it to start with, I don't know, but obviously they've got some more Cavallonero now coming in the polytunnel, which will be succession for this, so it can come out if it needs to be. And down the sides here, the silver beet continuing to just give and give, and I've put in a sneaky row of bok choy just down the edges there. The peas, this is the last lot of peas that we got in for the year, and beginning to fatten up now, just needs to be tied in. The garlic, putting on good growth, has got a bit of rust. I don't know whether I'll just cut that out. I might do that. It doesn't usually affect the bulbs itself, but yeah, might just do that just so it doesn't spread. But otherwise, doing all right. Got some sweet peas on the frame, beginning to take off now. Don't think we'll get quite the same harvest off them as we did last year. Last year's was fantastic. And to the first onion bed, so this was done about 4 weeks before the second onion bed. Really good growth on it, and the chives down the side, fantastic. We love chives, so having plenty of those is an absolute delight. But yeah, you can see that they're putting on some really good growth. Got big hopes for the onion harvest this year. And then up to the last set of 3 near the polytunnel. This bed will be the melon and bean bed. At the moment though, beetroot down the sides and carrots, and then cauliflower, which is just coming in. You see it just a bit there. I might take you around the other side, that might be a better view. Now look at that, look at this, coming on great. Just need to fold the leaves over so they don't go pink. But yes, we use cauliflower a lot instead of rice. These two beds are now prepped ready for the summer, so these will both have tomatoes in. Spinach and zinnias down the side on this one, leeks and zinnias on the other one. And now to the long bed next to the polytunnel. Zinnias down the side again, and 3 rosemary there, which are really putting on some good growth now. These will actually get transferred through to the Italian garden probably in the next few days as we start to plant that up. Raw beans though, same problem as the other bed, lots of really good growth, but I'm not seeing any beans or pods. Lots of bees still, but nothing else. And this bed will be for basically the Roma tomatoes, except they're not going to be Roma, they're going to be something else, but that kind of tomato. The lettuce just been giving us really good harvests. We don't have salads very often in the winter, but when we do, they've just been brilliant. Just cut and come again. And the rose and the zinnias just to hopefully give a bit of colour again. Rose seems to be putting on some nice good fresh young growth there, that's good. And then the other long bed by the polytunnel, this one will be the brassica bed, and it's halfway complete there. The pineapples, don't know quite whether they're going to be a success or not at the moment. They're looking pretty ropey. But the rhubarb is definitely putting on some really good growth. I might actually split this big one again, that way I've got 4, and I can then move them to the new fruit area, which will be the next big project, to grow there. That's the plan, I think. But overall, getting ready for becoming a brassica bed. So there we go, Fano. Overall, I think the veggie garden is looking pretty good and is already pretty well prepped for summer. And I'm very excited about being able to get the old windbreak in. Hopefully that will make a big difference to the crops, give them just that little bit more protection. Let's hope so. Okay, so I think it's time to move on. We've still got loads of new things to show you, so better hurry up with that. Okay, so one final look at the windbreak. Can't tell you how pleased I am with it. The plan is that I'll actually have some plants on this side that can use the wires as supports. So things like passion fruit and grapes and things like that. That's the plan. Still got to work out exactly which ones I'm going to get for this there. Okay, so moving down to the 2 standard rose beds, you can see now that the established one, the lavender, is really beginning to pick up, and the freesias are all out now, making a beautiful colour but even better scent. As you walk down this pathway, the scent is amazing. Roses are really beginning to flush out, including the new one. Further down there, you can see that the new roses that have just gone in are also putting in some good growth. We've got some of the lavender that I took cuttings from in there, but they're quite small and don't seem to be doing much at the moment, but the soil there is not great, I have to say. And behind them, we've got the Cosmos rubenza, which you saw me sowing earlier. And yeah, we got those at the back of both that bed and this bed. I have to say the ones on this bed did get slugged a bit, which was a bit disappointing. So I've got some more seeds now growing just so I can fill it out a bit more, because I want it to be a pretty full display of the cosmos in this case. And so down to the Italian garden, and not an awful lot has happened here in terms of planting stuff, but the big lump of dirt that was here has now gone, and the raised beds have been dug out and filled with soil. I don't know if you can see the big clumps of concrete and cement that had to be dug out to make them viable. That's essentially why we made this area seating areas, because it's basically all of the hardcore foundation that was put in for the house to sit on, so nothing was actually growing there. One problem is that the orange in the pot here has definitely taken a battering from the wind, lost quite a lot of leaves, so I need to think about protecting that in some way during the winter, I think. But overall, still plenty to do, but the next bit is the fun bit, which is the planting. And now down to the chickens and the next big new thing. So I remember, if you remember from last month, our chicken run disappeared off down, ended up about half a kilometre over that way. So we needed to do something that was a bit more secure. And so as you can see, we've now got a big solid wooden chicken run in, which is absolutely fantastic. It's got a couple of perches on either side, which they enjoy using, as well as the coop inside. Gives them lots of protection. It's really solid. Really happy about that. And then in addition, we've just popped on a second small fencing around the top end here, and that's because one of the chickens gets quite badly picked on, the one that's quite sickly compared with the other 5, and so it means that we can just separate them a little bit each day, so she gets a bit of peace and quiet and doesn't get picked on quite so much. But it also gives them an even bigger run in the meantime for the rest of the day, which we really like. Unfortunately, I can't let them go completely free range because they do make a mess and they do head up to the veggie garden. So yeah, we have to keep them a bit contained, but we try to give them as much space as possible. So let me take you around the fruit trees. We do have a bit of life happening in the fruit trees. The pears aren't doing very much, but the Billington plum here, you can see, is beginning to get quite a lot of flowers on it. My problem with the Billington, and I had one in our previous house, is it flowers really early before many of the bees are around, so it never ever got fruit, and I'm not quite sure how it's supposed to pollinate or help pollinate the other plum when it's done and dusted before the other ones even started. But they all say have Billington as the one to pollinate, so that's what we do. A lot of flowers on it, I have to say, this time, so that's encouraging. So the apricot is now beginning to come into leaf. At least one of the grafts is. The main one with kind of the most vigorous growth is definitely coming into leaf. The other one, not yet. Always a bit worried about that, but we'll just have to be patient. The other fruit trees aren't really doing very much at all. The apple tree, just beyond there, has got one flower on it, but not much else. And the almond, I'll take you up to the almond, it's got leaves on, but I don't think there's much else. Let's go and have a quick look. So you can see the fig and the peach beyond, not really doing very much at all at the moment. There's a few buds showing on the fig tree, maybe. Flicking over to the nectarine here, definitely got buds coming. I can see the buds all showing, so it's not dead, which is always the first success, but still quite a way to go on that. Nothing showing on the peach tree though yet. Actually, now that I'm a bit closer, I can see that there are buds showing on that one as well. Both these trees got a bit battered when the chickens had to come up here temporarily, but hopefully they'll recover. And finally, the almond tree, as you can see, putting on good leaves now, so that's excellent. And now up to the last big thing of the month. So what you're seeing here is fencing that's gone in. That gives us a fantastic paddock. See top there, kind of this fencing down here, so this is all of our land. Very difficult for us to grow anything on this in terms of plants or anything like that. I did wonder about putting vines in, but it's actually facing the wrong way. So we fenced it off, and we've got sheep coming in the next, hopefully, couple of weeks. Not a lot of them, but still sheep. And that then beggars the question, are we gardening on the Kaipara or are we homesteading on the Kaipara? I don't know. Put your thoughts in the comments. Is it gardening or is it homesteading? Either way, I'm very, very excited about having sheep. Although saying that, Caleb Cooper on Clarkson Farm thinks sheep are the most stupid thing possible. So I'll give you my judgment on that in a year's time, shall I? But yeah, been wanting to get this done for quite some time, and I'm really excited about it. Okay, so there we go, whānau. Winter is officially over. Spring is now here, and what a month it's been. So many changes here. Very excited about them, and only more things, exciting things to happen next month. A lot to get done. Want to get the Italian garden planted up. We're going to get the sheep in, get the tomatoes underway, hopefully be planting out a whole load of things, getting the brassica bed finished, working on the fruit beds. So many things. So please join us next time. For all those people that signed up for subscribing, thank you so much. So many of you subscribed this month, and I really appreciate that. Please leave comments down below. I always answer all of the comments, and I really love just hearing about where people are gardening and what their experiences are, because they're so different, even just around here in New Zealand. But across the way, there was a lovely lady that left a comment from Australia last month, and she does a vlog similar to this one. I'll probably pop a link down below so you can actually catch it. So essentially trying to do the same thing as I am, but in Australia, and so different over there. Her land, very brown compared with the greenness of here, but they're in winter as well at the moment, and it looks so cold, really deep frosts and things like that, but not as much water. So her experience is very, very different whilst trying to achieve the same thing. Fascinating. I found it really fascinating to watch. So if you're like that, please leave a comment, tell me the links, I'll go and watch them, and yeah, we'll see if we can share some more of these gardening experiences together. In the meantime though, I will hope you will join me next time. Until then, keep safe, Harbour, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.